Goodness, dog, really. I apologise for the barking. Literally, the moment my mic came off mute, woof, said the dog. It is November the 5th here, which in the UK is Bonfire Night, where we celebrate the fact that someone failed to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Only we would celebrate such a thing. And only I would have dogs that are this annoying. Amy, enough. It's fine. Shut up. So today, let's get on with it, I think is the short answer. Before the dog boils my head too much. Because we might finish the triangle today, which would be nice. So, let's see. And she is going to be so annoying today. YouTube, that's good. Bit long. Good evening. Welcome back. How are you this evening? You can lurk all you like. Throwing pins around. What you doing, dogs? Okay, somebody shoot me. Put me in the mental home. Apparently I hit mute, but my mute button goes off when the mute is on and not on. Anyway, that's why that was. Because I was talking to people. Yeah, I was talking to people, and it's because I hit mute when I was shouting at the dogs earlier. So at least you missed some of the dog. Problem is that on my screen, even if it's muted, the little widget still goes up and down showing that it can hear music. It's hit all my voice. It just doesn't actually really tell me, or it does in the world's smallest icon, that it's muted. I need to have a thing somewhere on my computer that says you are muted, you idiot. You know, kind of, obviously. So that was all on me. Sorry about that. So, in answer to your question, 49 bobbins and 49 pairs. Because you won't have heard me answer that. So yes, 49 pairs. Yes, it is a flat pillow, and rolly bobbins, which is arguably less than ideal. I realise that. And two really irritating dogs. So the flat pillow, originally, what you might be able to make out is that there is a movable block in the middle that I can lift up. There's movable blocks, for example, at the end. Yes, I realise it's sideways. It's quite a good size to fit all my bobbins on. For me, trying to do this on a round pillow would be difficult because it's square and my brain just, bits of it would be at an angle and bits of it wouldn't. If I had a really huge, flat-ish circular pillow, which I kind of do, I definitely do. I certainly have one big enough. The problem with that is that I don't ever feel I'm close enough to it. Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem I have is that I am not the most experienced lace maker. In fact, technically, while I started some 40 years ago, I took like some 40 years break in the middle. So technically I'm quite new to it, but not entirely. So I had some lessons. I say lessons, I think I had 3 when I was a kid. But I haven't really forgotten. And I do pick up crafty stuff pretty quickly. So I'm fairly cool with that. To the point that I designed this pattern. This is my design. It was based off another, but it is 100%. I tried a few stitches and combinations and decided which I liked better and all that kind of stuff. So I made that, and I know an awful lot of beginners would be really, scared of doing that. I've never been scared of doing that. It is torsion. Part of me would have preferred for it to be bucks, but bucks is always flowers, and I don't want flowers on my neck curtain. I'm not a flower girl, so this leads to much more of my usual kind of feeling. So I stuck with this. I mean, ideally, I wouldn't have been making a lot of squares, so just for your idea, that little thing in the corner shows you how far we've got. We are working on the 5th triangle. There's only 72. It's, it's not going to take very long, honest. So from that point of view, I've got a lot to do. They are all going to be the same, so it will get a little bit boring for everybody, including me. But, you know, I can always change my mind at the end and do the last 4 different. Or after this 4, decide that this makes a great that this will be great for the middle, but I don't want it on the outside. I've still got choices I can, options I can take along the way. The world's not set in stone just yet. So yes, I have. So I'm not overly experienced, and I used to do streaming, but I used to do streaming of a game, which is very different to stream, because. No, quilted is not where I'm heading. But what I'm doing is I'm going to join the squares. So, for example, I have my completed square and a trial I made with Midlands bobbins and realised just how much spangled bobbins and I hate each other. So let me get a cloth of covering. Hang on. Let's put a dark cloth over the top so you can see. So here was square number 1. My joins are a little bit pants, forgive my join. And then this was the original triangle, and when I got towards the end of my triangle, I already knew by about the first quarter of a triangle, I could not handle spangles for the rest of the curtain, so they had to go. And what I decided was that because I'd loaded those up quite a lot, I'd finish this triangle, just chuck the whole lot, bobbins and all, frankly. Bonfire would be ideal. And so this is the triangle I made. So the idea is I'm going to kind of join the edges like that and make a 3x6 set of squares and call it a net curtain. It would be better if I joined as I went, but then having that much hanging off the pillow, even if you wait till the end of the square to join it, so you do the last or the last 2 sides, depending on where you're at. It just struck me as asking for trouble. I mean, obviously, joining one square to another square isn't so bad. Joining one square to 3 squares probably isn't so bad. When you're near the bottom and you've got 17 and you've got 1 more to go and it's going to be joined on 2 sides, having most of that net curtain dangling off when you've got dogs, who frankly have no manners, just struck me as a good way to have chaos. Plus, this way, if I choose to do all 18 the same, I can join them in any order. If I choose to do well, my dogs aren't big, but there are 2 of them. And as a result, it's like having 2 little tornadoes in the house when they're in the mood. And, I'm sure you've suffered from this. When they're in the earlier years, and I'm not talking puppy necessarily, although obviously puppies do this, they still randomly do the nutty moments. Okay, he is much smaller. Let's put it this way. One of mine ate a 400-gram tub of Vaseline as a snack. Mine are only 20 kilos, I need to point out. They're not huge, They're not Newfoundlands or St Bernards or something great. I do want a Newfie. Oh, I'd love to have a Newfie. Let me introduce you to the 2 dogs. Hang on. It goes quiet when I do this, so meet the 2 dogs. That's when they're really good. I love them so much when they're asleep. They are beautifully behaved. They're a wonder to have. Well, so did I when I first got them. In fact, before I got them. I lost a dog in 2020 due to sudden onset of cancer, and it turned out most of her stomach and pelvis were made of cancer. And Oh, don't they just? And when she died earlier than she should have done, I sent out a message to a particular charity and kind of went, hello, I've got one old dog who also had cancer, but she'd had it for 5 years and was only supposed to last a couple of months, looking for another dog. And they kind of said, well, we've got this lurcher. And I was like, I could do lurcher. We've got this dog. I could do this dog. I mean, you know, I'm not fussy so much in my dog breeds. And then she sent me a picture of 2 puppies. Now, first of all, need I say anything more than puppies, really? I mean, if someone says, we've got puppies, instantly you're interested, almost whether you're not, right? And she sent a picture of the 2 puppies. And at this point, they were shorter than a man's forearm. So in the picture, they are lying down someone's forearm, head in his hand, legs kind of dangling off either side. And I looked at the pair and I looked at the black one and I went, that's a little boy, even though you couldn't see. And I looked at the little girl and I went, and you're a little cow and he's going to help. And I wrote back and I went, that's brother and sister. And she went, yes, actually. I went, can I have both? We're from Romania. We spent far too long in a crate being pooped and weed on by a dog on top. So we don't do crates, we scream. We are generally very good, although he has, for want of a better expression, PTSD. There is something that happened to him that I don't know what it is. Now, bear in mind, they found them at about 10 days old. So you would like to think that they don't really remember much. But I think something happened in the shelter. Maybe he got kicked by accident or, you know, or something another dog did. But if he is asleep and you touch a certain part of him, he comes up swinging. Both she and myself have the scars to prove it. Because, of course, I move in my sleep, and if he's sleeping by these 2 aren't too bad over anything else. He will not let you trim his nails under any conditions. He's got, like, it looks like, 4-inch acrylics almost. He will not let you trim them. And no amount of walking seems to wear them down. They seem to grow really quickly. So he just had, they're not 4 inches obviously, but in comparison they look like really long acrylic nails. She's got lovely little stubby nails, but she also is a crack at it, I swear. She never is still except when she's asleep. She is perpetually skinny. I feed her twice as much as I feed him and she's still skinny. And you're lining up for something. I can see it in your face. Amy, what you doing? Rory, what you doing? Yes, my mummy sense was tingling. One of you was doing something, planning something. I could feel it. Yes. So, because they came in a crate and they came a long way, I gave them quite a bit of a something's not right here. 2. There's 3 there. That's why it's an add up. Should have noticed that one earlier. So yeah, I gave them a fair bit of leeway when I first got them, just simply because they had come a long way and they'd had a rough time. They'd never been in a house before. They'd never been spoken to in English before. Virtually everything was brand new, so I couldn't really tell them off a lot. Oh, for fuck's sake, bobbin. My bobbins keep coming undone, and for whatever reason, it's really playing on my last nerve today. So they didn't have an easy start of it, and to be honest, they are very... I moan about them because, of course, like everything, I'm sure you understand, as a dog owner, they'll be perfectly well behaved. Hello, Zukin. How you doing? Good to see you, my friend. But yeah, I love my dogs very much. I'd love them even more if they were well behaved when I was trying to do something. That would be nice. So. Just for fuck's sake. So you've come undone again. You literally were just done. I swear I would use elastic bands on you. You're slipping. I'm clearly not at my patience stage today. Not that I'm ever at a pace. I'm not. Lots of people go, "Oh, you must be so patient." No, not at all. Stubborn, yes. Patient, no. Because usually when it rolls, it means this isn't level. It is. I definitely do struggle with the whole. I'll take you out. How come I didn't take you out? Your English is perfectly good, my friend. Your English is perfectly good. I remember when I was young, I was in third year infants, so I would have been 6. We had an Italian kid join our school, and he didn't know any English, which was a little bit awkward. Yeah, we had lots of fun with that, trying to teach him English. And of course, being that sort of age, you weren't the kind of kid who taught him swear words were good, because, well, we didn't know any. So we genuinely tried to teach him English. To be honest, my English is pretty poor. I speak with brain farts. My brain kind of goes wrong and my mouth kind of follows, which doesn't help. I'm not good at public speaking. I'm not very good at people, let alone public speaking, so... But certainly your English is 1,000 billion times better than my Italian, that's for sure. I don't remember any of it. I can relate to that. I'm going to find the next month very challenging. My employer has outsourced me, and I am therefore arguably going to be reporting to a new company as I get to go with my job as part of UK law. And of course, when you join a new company, you've got to do the induction, you've got to do all of the shenanigans, and well, in a month's time, I'll be on holiday. So I will get to work for these people for like 4 days, and then I'm on holiday. And at this point, we don't even know what they're going to pay us. Because while many things are protected by law, not everything has been sorted yet. We don't have our new equipment yet. We have literally nothing. And well, it's only got a couple of weeks to go, so yeah. Tension is strife, I think, which is not helping. But obviously, potentially, we will have to go up and meet the new employer. I don't have a working car. I don't need one for my job. Because I work from home. Which is something I don't think they entirely realise yet. Because work seems to have told them we're based on site. No, we're not. They sent over a generic set of instructions, not the ones applicable for us. So it's interesting. That could be a word for it. I've already done that. First square, dogs knocked the thing off, and bobbins didn't appreciate the gravity change and broke thread. So I've dealt with that. We've also had to, in the first square, although I wound what I thought was more than plenty, 2 meters should have been good, I got this far down the first square and started running out on a bobbin, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this does not bode well. I didn't actually run out on many bobbins, but obviously one or two bobbins, I'd been away with the fairies when I counted, and somehow really messed that up because some were really, really short. I think I only ended up replacing 5 pairs of bobbins, which, considering, but it was still 5 more than I meant. the one thing I do find, I like to pull the pins out, but then I discover all the mistakes that I've made. I can't seem to see them for the pins. So it's round about this time that you pull them out and you look at one and go, well, I screwed up this. And you kind of go, despite trying. As far as I know, I'm good on this one so far. Hmm, 9 o'clock. Had hoped to finish this today. We shall see. Yeah, I think some people have the knack, and I'll happily put it down to lack of practice and inexperience, because, as I said, I am not exactly the most experienced person at this, but I've always had a problem with my vision, and my problem with my vision, other than being incredibly short-sighted, was under certain circumstances my brain freaks out. So, for example, in the days of the curly phone cable, in the office, if I'm working on my computer, my phone rings, hello, blah, 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 you need to speak to so-and-so, here's the phone. And I pass the phone to them, and the cable goes across my vision like this. I now can't see. No, ads, of course. Yes. For me, it's very difficult because, as I was saying, when the phone cable goes across, I literally almost can't see. My brain can't decide which to focus on. Do I focus on the cable or the thing that I'm actually looking at behind it? And I find the same problem with pins, is that it's almost, there is nothing beyond the pin. The moment you take the pins out, I can see it. But until then, there is nothing. And I also hate these pins. They're good pins on the grounds that they're really thin stemmed pins, but they bend by saying the word pin, which really doesn't help me. So yes, I am struggling with the whole visibility thing. It means that I don't see any mistakes unless I've got the wrong number of bobbins. Occasionally I do spot something that looks funky, but it's got to look real funky for that to happen. So it's not ideal. I think if I'd made this in bigger thread, more of, say, bedspread sized thread, I'd be alright, because the thread would be huge in comparison to the pin, and I'll be able to find some of the issues. But it's proving a bit of a struggle. So I'm sure many of the things I do would make your wife cringe, but that's okay. My neck curtain is for me, so it doesn't have, as long as I'm happy with it in the end, or at least happy enough with it, because of course I'll know where all the mistakes are, it'll be fine. Good. Well, we all aim for that, don't we? We don't like to look back and go, look, there it is. I mean, for example, let me pull this out and zoom in on it for you. Hang on. I'm not very good at steering this. Let me move this over because it's just easier. So if you look here in the middle, there are, for example, a couple of bits where I forgot to twist, mainly along the joins, which was a bit irritating. The join here, which you can't really see so well, the join here, these rose grounds got a bit squished because they were the first ones and didn't have a pin in it to keep the corner out. So I've changed how I did that. I'm not very good at joins, so don't look too carefully at the join. In fact, I really suck at joins. But for the most part, you know, if you take a step back from it, because, you know, most people don't walk around with their nose 2 inches from your neck curtain, there's nothing in it that screams mistake. Unlike the first one. The first square I made, which was the inspiration. The inspirational square I made was this one. Now, I didn't like the ground between the honeycomb. I made a fudge here. There's a hole. A bit more obvious. I bring it down a bit. There's a bit of a hole looking there. But also, if you look carefully, here, and here, for example, it looks like I've made mistakes. No, they're just small spiders that don't really show up because they're half-stitched spiders in torchon ground. And because they're only like 3 pair, I think it's 2 pair spiders almost, they just look like I fucked it up. I'm not even sure they were that big. Because I'm looking at these. These in the middle are bigger. But these ones here, I'm pretty sure were only 2 pair spiders. I'd have to get the pan out. I don't like spiders specifically in their normal form. And because it was a net curtain, I mean, you've probably seen the countless short videos of people making scarves purely out of spiders, right? Hats off to them, but what's the point? What is the point when it's more hole than work, right? So I did half-stitch spiders on the grounds that they were a little bit more firmer, as in there was a bit more in the middle and a lot less leg to it. I didn't like them. The middle ones aren't so bad. I don't hate with all my soul the ones in the middle. I would have done if I'd done normal spiders. The ones on the edge, just... I think they probably wouldn't have been so bad if I'd done original spiders, because the legs would give that kind of... Let me zoom out again, otherwise you can't really see. They would have had that S shape to them because it's kind of a chevron shape. But this, it was a good inspiration. I enjoyed making it. I was kind of cool with how it came out, bar the many mistakes in it. Actually, there aren't too many in there. There's a few, don't get me wrong, and I redid a few bits, but for the most part, I was kind of happy with how it turned out. But the thread was a bit fat for what I wanted. Not a lot, just a bit. And so when I redid it, I made the square slightly bigger with slightly thinner thread. And so it is not quite as fat, and it feels better to the hand. This one is a bit more kind of amenable. The other one feels a little bit like it's almost starched, but it's not. And of course, the bigger they are, depending on the thread that you've got, they can also look wrong when they're big, because then they look like kind of someone took a load of thread and tied a knot in a big pile in the middle. I do quite like the cathedral ones where you do kind of like half a spider and don't do the bottom half. I kind of like those a little bit more, but not a lot more. So I chose no spiders for my net curtain. I really considered doing the honeycomb because I quite like the honeycomb. Without being kind of too specific, my old house, this is not my old house, obviously, otherwise it wouldn't be my old house. My old house had a bit of a fly issue. We were on like the fly superhighway or something. Well, yes, and they were just, it's too easy to have problems, right? And so, I kind of wouldn't have minded some honeycombs in this, but flies can get through the holes in the honeycomb, so I kind of wanted to try and keep the holes smaller. So hence I settled for rose ground, which I really like. I really like rose ground for some reason. So I had to adjust everything and move everything around to make that fit, because it didn't fit in the other hole. And I was potentially going to do something different in the middle. But I decided that I didn't want it to be too fussy. It is a curtain after all. And it's also going to be upstairs where no one else will really see it. So, yeah. Let's not pretend it's, you know. I mean, if I was making this to send to the King of England or something, you know, I probably would do different. But if I was going to send it to the King of England, I wouldn't be making individual squares. I'd make it as one piece. I would join as I went. I would kind of like have a hermetically sealed room with no dogs in it. You know. But then I'm not going to make it for the King of England, as he has no idea who I am. And that's fine. Well, you do. And an awful lot of these things... I mean, for example... let me put this pin in and finish this before I forget. So, I have a fear, because I've got like 72 triangles to make, that my brain's going to get a little bit knocked with making the same triangle. So I got me... Where the hell's that gone? Dogs have caused chaos. Where's that gone? Under there. No. Don't be barking! There it is. I decided to embark on a second thing. So I bought this, which you can't really see due to the lighting, but it's a Biscornu pincushion, and I thought, hey, I could make my own pincushion. That would be great. It says it's 8 centimetres. 8 centimetres is a decent size. That would be cool. Now, what it meant was that the little tiny square that you're going to cross stitch is 8 centimetres, not the thing at the end of it is 8 centimetres. It's going to be the tiniest little pincushion God ever made, right? And more to the point, at 25 stitches per inch, so that's 10 a centimetre, the last cross stitch I ever did, I was 7, and there were 11 stitches for the height of an entire bookmark. I've already made a mistake, by the way. I haven't done any today, because I do it while it's uploading afterwards, so, but, yeah, this was supposed to rescue my sanity, not be the cause of greater stress. Well, that's not working out so well, is it? Which is a bit of a shame. But never mind. It'll work out in the wash. But as you say, it's your hobby. You've got to enjoy it, or at least enjoy the finished product. Because we all know that quite often there is swearing, cursing and ranting while making it. But it is the finished thing that makes the swearing and the ranting worth it. Until then, you're not convinced. And that's fine. I'm quite happy with that. Well, it is. It is a good outlet for all of the stress of your day. Because when you start in a bad mood, and the first thing you do, of course, is make a mistake, stab yourself with a pin, your bobbin comes undone, the dog knocks you, and you just go off into one. Well, a lot of that has now passed. So it is not a bad thing. But obviously, to the outside person, watching you sit and... I mean, you've listened to me. I'm sitting here ranting about my bobbins coming undone and the flimsiness of my pins and the rolling of the bobbins and the dogs and the kind of thing, right? Do I enjoy it? Well, I'm a crafty person. I like doing crafty things. enjoy isn't always the word I would use, but I do like when I finish them. And I've mentioned this a couple of times on stream, was that part of the reason I hated knitting as a child was because of my mother. First of all, because all the things she taught me were fundamentally wrong. Second, because she would get me knitting a jumper for myself, and being a child, it would take me like 8 hours to do nothing, right? Even though I wanted the jumper, it would take me 90 minutes to do like one row. It meant that in an evening, I'd do a row and it was bedtime. Well, a jumper at 1 row a day is not growing fast. And so what would happen is I'd get quarter to halfway up the back, be growing out of it, my mother would take over, finish in a couple of days, and yes, I would have my jumper. But I didn't make it. I never finished it. I didn't sew it together. I didn't make the sleeves, the front, most of the back, none of it. And it almost meant that I'd done none of it. I might as well have done literally none of it. And so I never enjoyed it because I never got the joy of looking at a finished item and going, I made that. I actually like that. Now, we've all made something and gone, thought that it looks like cat bath and we'll never speak of it again. And that's fine. But if you never get to make a single thing that you like because you never made it, it really does spoil it. And it took me till mid-30s to knit something and enjoy it. I gave up for like 20 years in the middle, I need to point out, but I refused to knit because I hated it. And in fact, the only reason I took up knitting, again, really, was when I bust my knee and I had insomnia and I watched a load of double knitting videos and my brain was going, oh, that looks like fun. Brain, you hate knitting. Yeah, but that looks like fun. Fine, we'll have a go. So I did enjoy it. Because I made the world's tiniest nothing and, well, it looked like what it was supposed to. And it was like, actually, that works all right. That's not so bad. Only it was like a little heart, so it was white and red on one side and red and white on the other. It was tiny. But I finally knitted something that didn't look like cat bath and that I actually finished. So then I made a scarf and a king-size bedspread, as only I would. But you do find yourself sitting there kind of going, you have to complete it. You have to do enough of it that you look at it and go, I made that. If you didn't make that, you do not get that satisfaction of all the cursing of the drop stitches, the having to frog a load of it, whatever. Because, well, you didn't make it. You don't get that counterbalance part where you look at the end result and go, you know what? I do like that. That is cool. I'm glad I did that. And I want to do it again. Because I didn't. I never wanted to do it again, ever, ever, ever. Oh, Amy. I know. People are being silly. I'm sure they are. I can't hear them, though. So I'm not convinced you're not just making it up. It's all right. Just ignore them. Just ignore them. Roo. Roo. No, don't bite my face off if you don't mind. You've slobbed on my glasses now and I can't see for a slobby bit. Yes. It's my nose. Thank you. Can I clean my glasses now? Can I take your slob off my glasses so there isn't this great globule of Amy spit right in the middle of my glasses? Are they playing sillies? Are they? I can't hear them. It is firework night here, so for the non-Brits, we, a bit like July the 4th, on November the 5th, we celebrate that some idiot failed to blow up the Houses of Parliament. I mean, seriously, try harder. But people tend to blow up small parts of the country to celebrate this for some reason. I mean, don't get me wrong, fireworks are pretty when you've got a lot of money behind it. Not so much when you have a more moderate budget. Kind of, they're friggin' expensive. People do love to kind of blow up a small part of the world. Poke you all the way around. And work the other way. We're a bit like that. We're very much fair weather dogs, so we do not like going out when there's weather. It's not an option here, but somehow that does not seem to have always sunk in. Just because they don't do weather. They definitely don't do weather. Hang on, just counting some bobbins. So, if it's too windy, rainy, snowy, cold, frankly anything other than perfect out there, we're not keen on going out. We will go out sometimes, but it's got to be quiet. So if it's rainy, it can rain as long as it's really quiet about it. If it's making enough noise that you can hear it's raining, we're not doing that. And obviously depending on how long that goes on for, they will opt for indoors if they feel that's the better option. When annoying me is a better option, that's pretty bad. Because, well, it just is. So, I don't... Hence, when they wander off and they're quiet, it's kind of like, what you doing? As I say, I know it's fireworks here and that's not ideal. I haven't heard any. So from that point of view, you know, you're kind of making it up. I don't believe you. You could go outside. And I've got fairly good hearing, so... I should be able to hear it if there were any. Ouch. Have you tried the thunder jacket? Because there's a thunder jacket you can get for dogs. Basically, it's a bit like a hug me jacket for humans, but it goes all the way around them and kind of gives them a bit of pressure around their chest, like a permanent hug, and it calms them down. And of course is non-medical, so yeah, don't get my work colleague passing comment on the US elections going on. We're British. Yes. No, but the idea of the thunder jacket is you put it on if you can tell it's going to come, right? And it gives a calming effect to them. Now, it's not going to fix him, but usually it does make them less bad in that it's not extreme terror. It boils down to largely inconvenienced or such. It's not, hiding under a table, almost wetting themselves in fear kind of thing. I've been really lucky that all my dogs don't really care for thunder, lightning, fireworks and so on. In my old house, we did have one guy about 5 doors down who, frankly, just blew up his garden every year. It's the only thing he could have been doing because, as I say, it was 4 or 5 houses away. Now, okay, gardens around here are not big. But, gardens around here aren't generally that big. So there's kind of just enough walkway either side of the house. Well, as I say, it's worth a try. You can kind of make one, but it's probably easier to buy one if you can afford to. They're not hugely expensive. But every year on fireworks night, we'd all be sitting around and there'd be pop, pop, bang, bang, whee, kind of thing going on. And then there would be the one, right? And it was only the one. As I said, I swear he was blowing his garden up. It was like, obviously, at some point he'd dug a really deep hole and he had packed it full of dynamite. And every year he'd, fill it up over the week before. And on the day, set light to it because it would shake all of the houses. Because, as I say, I was 5 houses away and this is a detached house, so it's not like it's shaking because the whole row of houses is shaking. My house, individually, not touching anybody else's, would still shake. And to be fair, the dogs didn't like that, and I have to admit, nor did I. I mean, I didn't think the house was going to fall down or anything. But, there you were, minding your own business, pop, pop, bang, bang, whee, or whatever, and, and then suddenly, kaboom, and the house would shake, and it's kind of like, a little over excessive, I think, my friend. Just a tiny bit. You're doing it in your house, not kind of out in the middle of, a desert somewhere, trying to attract, help. You're in your own house. Did you blow up your house? I mean, did you just turn the gas on and light a match? I mean, what did you do? And that's the thing, is it sounded like some small cannon going off. And, I mean, I'm not scared of guns, I'm not scared of explosions, I have no real issue with it. But when it shakes a house away, a fair distance away, in the name of fun, this isn't so much fun. I mean, every year it was kind of like, oh, please tell me you got yourself with that. I mean, I didn't mean it, but, it was that kind of, if I heard you accidentally took yourself out with it, I won't be surprised, now will I? So, I mean, I would rather pay to go down the local firework display because, first of all, they then have thousands of pounds worth of money to blow on some really impressive fireworks and pay people who are good at it, except for the lot who inadvertently set them all off in like 0 seconds. But, normally you get, for the price of not a lot, you wander down some field somewhere, you pay an entrance fee, and you've now got 25 minutes of really good firework display. If you try to do 25 minutes in your back garden, you'll have spent £600-700 and it will probably look crap because, well, it will. And so, I don't know, I've always had animals, so I don't have fireworks. I didn't have them as a kid. And my parents, I think, were always quite concerned that I felt I was missing out. My dog, when I was little, his name was Sandy, was very petrified by fireworks. I honestly would rather have spent the evening with him, making him feel better, than watching a few things in the sky go wee pop boom, right? And I think my parents felt quite touched by the fact that I cared more for the dog than my own happiness. And I did go to a couple of firework displays of, you know, some parent would have one and, you know, my parents would drag me around and would watch it. And I never enjoyed it because I was too busy worrying about the dog or worrying about their pet, because 9 times out of 10 they had pets too. And it was kind of like, yeah, but what about the animals? What about the wildlife? So where I live here, there is a field behind me full of wild animals. Well, you can't exactly explain it to them now, can you? I mean, at least, you know, my pets have me if they feel worried by it. Most they seem to do is occasionally bark at a few things. And other than annoying me, and themselves probably, it's not really a big deal. But what about all the animals who don't understand what's going on? What about all the animals who die because of it? I feel far more for them than I do for any idiot who, you know, manages to blow his hand off or whatever, and it's kind of like, well, that was your own choice, you chose to do that. Whatever. Sorry, no sympathy here, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, fireworks night just seems to be a good way to blow far too much money on not a lot. When I lived in London, there was a good place to go and watch fireworks on a night like this, assuming it's not peeing with rain. Yes. And then, you know, you've got people who have PTSD. Well, they don't enjoy them either. So surely have events, because if they're in known places, so for sake of the argument, the local park, right? Well, if you live near the park, you know to go and visit a friend on firework night, don't you? And then, ta-da, problem solved. When it's everyone and their dog, well, okay, dogs wouldn't, but, you know, everyone in the world can blow up a small part of their garden and for the fun of it. And so it's not even necessarily, I know, between 6 and 7 o'clock, it will sound like some war zone and then it'll be over. No. It can go on for hours because, you know, this house over there will do half an hour and then they'll do half an hour and then they'll do half an hour and because no one can afford to do any more than that. And you're just sitting there going, what a waste of money. If you'd all pulled together and, you know, gone round someone's house, you could have had a really good kind of set of stuff. And it just... Hello to the World Class Hooker. Thank you for the follow. Everybody's welcome. Well, most dogs don't want to go out. I mean, no offence, I don't want to go out either, but then I never want to go out. So I don't know. Firework night has always been something I guess I never truly understand because, as I said, we're celebrating someone's failure. It's not like they succeeded. I mean, if they succeeded, I'd kind of get it, right? But he didn't even succeed. And it's not like we're all paying good money to, you know, get someone else to have another go. I almost genuinely don't see the point of it. I mean, I get why we have the guy on the bonfire because it represents burning Guy Fawkes after the event, but not the blowing up stage because he failed. It didn't work. You should have so tried harder. Never mind. Nearly there, guys. Getting there. Getting there. No, that's not the right hole. That's the right hole. Definitely getting close now. Just bent that pin in half. Really good at that. Last pin. Well, for this triangle anyway. And there we go. So somewhere underneath all of this mess is my triangle. Let me pin this lot up together for safety. Right, you can go round there a little bit. We can undo, we need to push down a load of pins. Yep. One too many, but never mind. Oh, okay. Co-workers off again. If you ever hear my phone there, without a doubt, it's nearly always my co-worker. And don't get me wrong, he's a great guy,
and if he wasn't, he wouldn't have my number. But there are times, and I know his wife has the same problem with me, but usually he pings me first.
Right, let's pull all these extra pins out and have a good look. And I know I could take a lot of these pins out far sooner than I do, but in case I need to go backwards, it just strikes me as a lot easier to leave a pin in a set of work and pull them out later, like I'm doing with this, because it's not like I'm short of pins. And now they're all flat, it's much easier to sort them out a bit, and we can have a look. Straight pin, lurking, there we go. There. Something a bit funky here.
It's just a bit poor tension. No, it's a bit of funkiness there.
So, let's play Spot the Issue. So, let's have a look. Here, funkiness. Something funky there. Something a bit funky going here. Don't know quite what happened about here. I assume I didn't cross a couple of threads. Didn't cross some there. But otherwise, I mean, if that's all I can find, it's better than last time. There's definitely kind of a bit of funkiness. In fact, there and there, it's like a habit. Let's push my pins down. Them down so hard so there's nothing for threads to catch on, because, well, frankly they will anyway, but actually they'll be under a cloth for both of it, but I don't want the cloth to catch on them either. Could be a lot worse, could be a lot worse. Not unhappy with that. Definitely not unhappy with that. Let's take a photo of that. actually. Let's turn it round. As I said, it's not like there isn't mistakes, but I am human. And if, you know, I only find them at this point, it's a bit freaking late. It's not straight. I mean, yes, technically, I could go back and I could fix them. Or you could go leap off a bridge. Yeah, I'm going back to here, for example. So this is the working end. Going all the way back to here. No. I have gone back a reasonable way and fixed things before. So, for example, you know, if there was a problem here, I would go back here. But that's kind of as far as I'm prepared to go. That, you know, sanity has to come into it. I've done that. I've definitely gone back an hour. The problem is obviously the further you go back, the harder it is. Well, it's not hard to go back. It's just demoralising. And let's sort some of these bobbins out. Actually, let's not flip hue yet. So, I now flip my bobbins. In fact, before I do that, let's put them back over here. Hang on. Let's put the cloth down. That's what we need to do. I need to put my cloth down. Fold my cloth in half. Like this. Now, we put these over here, like this. Next. So, then we're all ready for the next one. It's 9:45, and obviously this arguably is a great place to stop. I will be inevitably back tomorrow. I know I don't post a schedule during the week. This is because my starting times vary. But I do try and stream every day. So to catch me, being on follow, if you let Twitch, it will ping you to say I've gone live. I'm usually online somewhere between 5 PM UK time and 10 PM UK time. I try not to go too late because, well, I've got to upload it. And I have the crappiest internet in the history of internets. I swear I had a dial-up modem better than this. It's been nice to meet you, and nice to talk to someone who has probably far more knowledge about it than I do. But yes, I will be back tomorrow, and I shall see you all then. Thank you for coming, and have a good evening, everybody else, especially to the lurkers amongst us. Let me see who's about. Nobody. So we won't go raiding today because there's nobody to raid. Have a good evening, everybody. See you tomorrow.